Today we're going to talk all about gadgets and investing in biohacks, all the cool stuff where you get to spend a lot of money, but it's all about higher performance. Ultimately, you want to invest to sleep less while performing more, right? Ultimately, you want to do that. You want to achieve more. You don't want to sleep all day. You want to get more done. And that's what today's module is all about. I'm going to share with you a lot of information that's going to help you save a whole bunch of money and give you a roadmap of navigating these kind of biohacking investment areas. There's so many products and gadgets. It's very easy to get lost in all these things or this stuff that everything is promised to elevate your performance or to give you better sleep, help you be more focused and all that thing. But where do you begin? How do you invest? Where do you begin? This is what today's module is all about. So let me just get it out of the way and let's see what we're going to cover today. We're going to cover all kinds of things. Who will kind of want to invest in these type of technology or gadgets, or we call it biohackers gadgets? Who will invest in this? We'll talk about the different categories for investment. Where should you start? I'll give you my thoughts, my opinion of my own journey of trying all these gadgets, spending all this money and investing in myself, what I've learned through the journey, where I do recommend you start, and we'll go into some action for today as well. You ready? I'm not sure you're ready. Yeah, I think you're ready. Sorry. So who want to invest in tech? You could be one of these person. Maybe because you have decades of health challenges. Maybe you've never felt your best. You might have different type of disease. It could be diabetes. It could be arthritis, brain fog. You could have Lyme's disease. You could have Hashimoto's. It could be all kinds of things that you really just need a bit of a, how would you say, a bit of a tool to help you get there faster. And that's an area where you might want to invest in using technology and gadgets to help you along the process to just accelerate your pace. The other type of person that may really want to invest in this is someone who consider energy and focus and brain power as a bit of like a bank account. So you understand, okay, you might be feeling great, but you really know that there will be days where you probably can't sleep for days because of you need to get something out the door, right? You need to launch an event, you need to help someone out. That we can't always control the circumstances, and that is when you tap into that bank account. If you build enough investment in your energy, in your body, in your health, what ultimately you give yourself is a big bank account from which you can draw out, and that's resilience. It just means that you become so much more resilient than your average folk. Now, granted, if all you do is withdraw from your bank account, eventually what happens? You go bankrupt, you end up in hospital, you end up getting burnout, you're getting seriously sick. But if you see this as an investment for the long term, so that when the need comes, you've got plenty, you've got billions of dollars in terms of energy currency, focus currency, then you can withdraw it and you got what it takes when you just need it. So it's two different perspectives for investing in these gadgets and all these biohack, because ultimately it takes money, so you need to have the right frame. These are the two frames that I think will really benefit from this module. So let me go through with you some of these investment categories. It is important to know, because we're focusing on sleep, what the category I'm going to focus on more is related to stuff that's related to sleep. And there will be other modules where we'll cover other categories, but today's focus is about investing for overall better quality sleep and more energy. So this is the energy hacking investment categories. What are some of these categories? Okay, stress reduction. We know stress is not only really bad for sleep, it's an energy vampire. Right? Remember, stress is something you feel. It's an emotional reaction. It's actually not helping with anything. It doesn't make you richer, better looking. It doesn't make you more productive. It just gets in the way. So think of an energy empire. It's something you do want to actively reduce. And there are gadgets that actually help with that. It can help enhance your sleep. So the quality of your bed, the quality of your mattress. You can improve the sleep environment. Right? Again, a sleep environment enhancement, the quality of the air you breathe. You can invest in actual general brain state manipulation. So in previous modules, I've covered some of the brainwave that's actually dominant when you're in a particular state, whether you're trying to focus or you're trying to get energized or you're trying to be innovative and think different, like out of the box solutions. Your brainwave are at different states, and you can actually manipulate that on demand, and there's gadgets that can help you with that. There's sleep monitoring, which provides you with feedback and metrics so that you are going beyond just how you feel, but you've got some quantitative measures. So quantitative as opposed to qualitative. Quantitative means it's a number. It's a metric, so you can actually see that you're making progress every single day. And you know if you do something that impacts the number, you've got some what we call feedback to adjust, to change. So I'll go over some of my favorite gadgets for that as well. And there are things that's a complete total biohack. It basically elevates your performance in every single way, including sleep, but everything else. So these are the main categories we're going to be covering today. So let's start off with the stress reduction element. So stress affects us every single day for sleep. With these gadgets, the primary mechanism for them to work is really to manipulate and stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system. So it's the calm, the rest, and they call it the rest and digest system, the vagal nerve. That part of it's throughout your whole body. It connects from your digestive system all the way to your heart, to your brain. It's all interconnected, and your system, your body actually sends more signal to the brain than the brain sends to the system. And by manipulating the body, you can send the right type of signal to the brain and create this sense of calm, this relaxation. And there's different ways for which that you can trigger this reaction, but that's ultimately what some of these devices try to do. Is it goes through certain nerves in the system and create a reaction which sends a relaxation signal to your brain. So some of these devices really help with sleep and also recovery in the short term. It creates a very almost instantaneous reaction. So if you struggle with stress management, or maybe you're just undergoing a lot of things in your life, it is worthwhile having a look at. The long-term health benefits is also achieved because with lower stress, your heart rate variability actually improves. And the science is irrefutable that having a better heart rate variability have a host of benefits for your body, for your performance, for your relationship, for everything. And this is what these devices will help you create in the longer term. It's not just sleep. It will help with sleep for sure, but having lower stress is really good for your long-term health benefits through the improvement of heart rate variability. The cost involved in this type of devices is stress reduction devices around $200, and I've listed some of the most popular devices for stress reduction, and there's Apollo wearable, the Sensate, which is something that it goes on the chest and create a vibration, and there's Touchpoint. Now, Apollo, Touchpoint, they all go on your wrist, and they create a type of vibration to stimulate the vagal nerves, your parasympathetic nervous system through the vibration frequencies, which sends a relaxation signal to the brain. And that's how you feel calm. But then the sensei goes through your heart, go through your chest. It's a chest piece you wear this. Now, which one works better for you? It depends, really. It depends. And this is something you're going to have to experiment because for some people, the vagal nerve around this area is somehow just works a lot better than the stimulation on the wrist. The thing is, if you already bought a device that works on this principle and it hasn't worked for you, you might be better off selling it and trying something else in another category rather than buying another similar device that works on the same principle because you've already tried a similar type of device. For example, if you try Apollo, it hasn't worked. Trying to buy Touchpoint and expecting a different result is unlikely. It's just unlikely. It might make some difference because these different manufacturers have slight different approaches, but ultimately it's the same principle. If you notice no difference, as in zilch, I will probably not spend more money on the same category. I'll be looking to try other things rather than just double down and investing in the same category. And this is how you can save some money, right? These are different categories. We're talking about stress reduction. If you're looking to reduce stress to sleep better and you're putting Apollo hasn't really helped, maybe you need something else to help you rather than more stress reduction device in the same category. Okay, and the impact, it could be quite transformative for many people who have suffered from chronic allergies, stress, PTSD, post-traumatic disorder, stress disorder. Those type of people could benefit dramatically from these gadgets, which will give a little helping hand to help them. This in isolation, of course, doesn't work. You probably need therapy if it's a very traumatic thing, but it's one of the tools, one of the weapons in your repertoire to help you eliminate or reduce stress. That is one category. Another category, this is where, let me think. The way I describe it is brain state manipulation. So these are the devices that actually, when you wear it, it changes the brain waves. And what that means is that there's a lot of flexibility for which you can use to manipulate and to get the impact that you want. So for example, if you need having poor sleep, I'm just making the notes bigger for myself so I can read this out to you. If you need help in better sleep, you can use this to trigger a alpha wave or maybe a delta wave in your brain. And that's relaxation, right? You're going from beta, alpha, theta to delta, where you get more this relaxation and you rejuvenate. But if you want the opposite, let's say you have a lot of work you got to get through, and you got a lot of work you got to finish. Okay, in that case, you turn it into a stimulating mode and you trigger the beta wave, and then that gives you attention and focus, and you're helping you getting things done. So it's a little bit, in my mind, this is more flexible than just a stress reduction, because it can do stress reduction, calm you down, but it's also great for speeding things up and making you go. Okay, so that is the brain state manipulation, and it does that through a number of means. There's electrical stimulation, so this is like CES, cranial electrical stimulation, which is a device attached to your ears, where you have a lot of nerve endings, and it sends a pulse to your brain to do what's called entrainment. It trains your brain to follow the frequency of the electrical pulse. There's also TDCS, transcranial direct current stimulation, which is a lot more specific. You have to be very specific which part of your skull that you attach to the electrodes, but through that direct manipulation of that part of the skull, it's been used to elevate depression, improve learning, verbal fluency, language acquisition, all kinds of things. It's quite magical what TDCS can do. The only thing is with TDCS, you have to be very precise with the positioning of what part of your skull. Now, there's many devices on the market that claim to do TDCS, but doesn't. If there's no guidance on how you can know exactly what region of the brain to put these electrodes, it's probably not a good device to purchase. Just something to be on the lookout for. There are other ways of brain state manipulation like binaural beats, which is using the sound. We've got a module in the sleep called Challenge, which we talked specifically about binaural beats, and there's devices that offer that. And of course, there are these devices are powerful because the alternative is you can also use breath work. You can use supplements to manipulate the brainwave, but these are more indirect. Right, so breath work and supplements are more indirect and can take significantly longer, and this is where these devices really can potentially help. And the last categories I haven't mentioned is what's called a pulsed EMF. So we talked about harmful electromagnetic fields that interfere with your sleep, with your performance, but there are helpful ones also. We mentioned a study where there is positive influence of EMF if it's at right frequency, and that's what pulse EMF devices do, and you're looking at one. So that picture of this white device on the screen, that's a pulse EMF device, and there are other devices in the same category. So we talked about how these devices work and manipulate the brain waves. We talked about it can help with all kinds of things, from energy, creativity, sleep, relaxation, meditation, addressing depression, PTSD, all kinds of things. It works through the entrainment and manipulation of the brain. We've talked about that. Cost, it's around $500 to $800 for basic device. Pulse EMF, you can get a whole body pulse EMF, which is in the range of thousands. So you can spend quite a bit on this. And some of the devices that you might be looking for is Happy, Mind Alive Pro, or David Delight, it's called, Omni PMF, which is the device you see on the screen. That's the way to investigate. The impact is high. I personally got quite a few devices. I've got a CES device, I've got binaural beats device. I've tried quite a few of these, and let's just say it can almost, it's like a bit of woo-woo. It works. It's really hard to describe how it feels, but it can really switch your state just like that. Fantastic experience. Highly recommend you trying one of this. And again, to save you money, if you try a category of brain manipulation, let's say you try a CES device, it hasn't worked. You might not want to invest. You may not want to invest more money in the same category. So, for example, David Delight uses cranial electrical stimulation. If that hasn't worked, I wouldn't buy a similar device. Maybe like I'll try something else like a pulse EMF, a different kind of mechanism. So I don't want to invest in something that works. This is the way for you to save a lot of money. Okay, moving on. Sleep environment enhancement. We've talked about that in the sleep bedding section. And this is something that is more about temperature control. So we know cooler temperatures help induce high quality sleep. And this is some of the devices that can help you create that higher quality sleep by manipulating the environment. Here I talked about the mechanism, the temperatures, reduce the temperature to improve the sleep quality. That's how they work. There's quite a few options you can get. Either if you already got a really good mattress, you don't want to buy another mattress, you can get a top cover which just covers the top and essentially pump a form of coolant, usually water, through these web and then reduce the sleeping temperature for you. And it's more efficient than setting the aircon, for example, which cools the entire room. whether you need it or not. You're spending a lot of money. So this is actually very efficient. Just beware, some of these devices are pumping water through that, making sure that these devices are not leaky, because you do not want a moldy, leaky system when mold is going to impact your sleep negatively. So just beware of that. There's a new company called Sleep, very innovative in the sense that they not only manipulate sleep temperature, what it also offers you is sleep monitoring, and there's more. Monitors your sleep, tells you how well you sleep. You adjust the temperature at different stages of sleep to enhance the quality of deep sleep or your REM sleep. As science has researched how we sleep and the temperature, the best temperature to create different types of sleep, our body temperature fluctuates throughout the night, depending on what brainwave or what stage of sleep you are in your sleep architecture. So iSleep is very innovative. It uses a feedback loop, senses how you sleep, and adjusts the temperature accordingly to trigger high quality sleep. Well worth checking it out if you can get access to it. I've been wanting to buy in Australia, but darn, you're not sending it here yet. So iSleep, I don't know if you're looking at this, I hope you set up shipping for Australia very soon, because I'll be really interested in investing in this. Now, cost is not cheap. 500 to about 3,000 US dollars is around that range, so it's well worth having a look. The impact, I would say, is medium. I would say the other brainwave, the other manipulation is higher impact than this. I wouldn't do this as a first thing, which I'll talk about in a little bit more about the order for which we can approach our investment dollar. Okay, a lot to cover. I'm going to cover air, the sleep environment. Now, air is critical for your sleep and your well-being. Poor quality air is killing tens of thousands of people in some of the cities around the world. In Mumbai, in Shanghai, they have some of the worst quality air on the planet, and people are literally getting lung cancer without never having to smoke. That is the impact of air, right? It can literally kill you with bad quality air, but more importantly for sleep, it can give you really, really bad nightmares. So mold, toxins, allergens can create inflammatory effect. And this is where some of these more innovative air filters come in. Traditionally, air filters come in some HEPA air filters, which is very highly efficient, and it filters the majority of the allergen. And that's a really good, fantastic way to start. These air filters will eliminate these pro-inflammatory air pollutant from the air that's going to destroy your energy. The HEPA stands for high efficiency particulate absorbing filter, and that's what we say the mainstream gold standard of what an air filter could do. But you can actually look further than that, right? This HEPA has been around for a long time. We've actually got a lot newer technology that not only eliminate these pollutants in the air, floating in the air, dust and mold and bacteria, but they are ones that actually eliminate viruses, including things like COVID, for example. Really, really interesting. Bacteria, mold, even volatile or organic compounds, so the fumes you get from a chemical smell of plastic, it can actually eliminate even things like that. And there's a few technologies. So the PECO, photoelectrochemical oxidation, uses highly reactive molecules. It generates highly reactive molecules that attach themselves to these VOCs, to mold, and basically it's like an oxidant. So highly reactive oxidant that attaches these things and then neutralize them, right? Basically making them explode. There's photocatalytic oxidation, which is another technology, and that's something that is really, really new on the market. And I've got some of these devices myself. Cost is about $100 to $1,000, depending on what you're looking at. Some of the hypo air entry devices are quite affordable, quite small, and covers the bathroom quite well. The impact is very high. Air is critical to your survival, and this is something that it's well worth investing. I've noticed that when I put these devices, mold is really growing. Like basically they stop growing. I used to get mold problem in my bathroom. Having one of the devices, the one I have is from Hypo Air. I got one of these through my mentor, Dave Ashbury, who sent me one of these devices to try out. And I just noticed the mold stopped growing. Fantastic. I was doubting that doesn't have any effect. And it definitely visible. You can see the effect. And when my wife and my daughter got COVID, I had the device on 24/7. Neither me and my son got COVID. So it must have been doing something to kill the virus as well. And there's tons of third-party verifiable research to show that these devices, especially Hypo Air, I'm a big fan. It's worked, and it's used in many of the American hospitals. It's used in NASA, in the space station, where it's critical. All the airs are recycled, so you don't want things to be circulated throughout the space station. Well worth looking to. Okay. All right, sleep monitoring. So this is a different type of monitoring, allows you to give you feedback on how well you sleep. And this is a metric. It's a number. When you have a number, you can see the impact of your actions. That gives you input to try something else. Rather than just trying these things and you really can't feel anything and you don't know where to adjust. It's very powerful. And I'm actually wearing a device. I'm not sure if you can see it. This is the Oura Ring. It's the large version that you're seeing is what I'm wearing. This is generation 3. And traditionally, you have accelerometer based, which is your phone apps, basic Fitbit, Garmin, etc. It measures movement, essentially, to give you an understanding. If you toss and turn, you try to guess, infer what stage of sleep based on movement. It's not very accurate. It's just a guideline. It's better than nothing. Then you can include sound monitoring, which is accelerator monitoring the movement as well as the sound you're hearing. Let's say you're snoring, you're mumbling, you're sleep talking. You can sense that and use that as an additional metric to help improve the monitoring of your sleep. So apps like Sleep Space, Sleep Cycle actually incorporate some of that. You can get even more advanced where you start to add the heart rate, speed, the oxygenation, the SpO2, the oxygen saturation measurement from the device, and the latest iWatch try to incorporate that into giving you feedback on the quality of your sleep. And can you see this is where we're going? We're trying to emulate information that's normally available if you go to a sleep lab. We're trying to recreate that so that you don't have to go to a sleep lab to get that information. You can have daily information to help you improve your sleep without going to a sleep lab, which is first, it's not your usual sleeping environment. It's different. What you see in sleep lab may be very different. This is what trying to bring that into your home, and it's incorporating more and more technology, except the iWatch is measuring that information from the wrist, which is very different to the next device, which is the Oura Ring. The Oura Ring, in my mind, and based on all the research I've covered, it's really the ultimate in terms of sleep monitoring. First, it does accelerometer, it measures movement, it measures the heart rate, the SpO2, and it's used based on the finger. So the capillary on your finger is a lot easier to sense than compared to your wrist. And it's a lot more accurate. And because it doesn't have to penetrate as much more skin, it's very power efficient. That's why an Oura Ring can do measurements in the terms of hundreds of thousands times per second. Very, very sensitive. And compared to like the iWatch, that's really just not as good. It's not as accurate. This is the reason when you go to the hospital, where do they put the heart rate sensor, SpO2, oxygenation sensor? In your finger. They don't put on the wrist. There's a reason for that. Right? So Oura Ring is the ultimate, scarily accurate when I look at when I sleep, and it's already corrected my behavior. What I notice is when I do drink, my deep sleep is almost non-existent. It's terrible. I can go to sleep fine, I wake up at the same time, but when I do drink, even just a few drinks, I can see the impact. And because of that, I've become a far more conscious drinker than what I used to be. That's a positive because I've already corrected my behavior so that I'm not waiting 10, 20 years to experience the impact. I can see it in my ring, in my report, and it's fully integrated. So you integrate all this information to give you a sleep score and give you actionable suggestion on what you can do to improve. So that's the Oura Ring for sleep monitoring. It's around $300 and yes, it has an impact on behavior, but I'll say compared to other hacks to invest your money, this is a medium in terms of impact because you can have basic monitoring just using as simple as your mobile phone. All right. Total hacks. We're covering a lot. Now, I don't have time. You don't have enough time to watch me blab on for another hour about all kinds of devices that you could be investing in upgrading your whole body, your whole person, your performance, where you really can bank on your performance as an energy currency. But I will talk about them, some of the category. Infrared sauna, highly recommend you having a look into. Tons of benefit, improves your mitochondrial function. It makes you more resilient to sickness, so you're less likely to get sick. It creates heat shock proteins, which is anti-aging. It helps create a nice hormetic stress response, forcing your body to adapt. Tons of science and tons of benefit, and centuries old, if not thousands of years old. Photobiomodulation therapy, which is also using light, using infrared, visible, infrared below the visible spectrum. These are used to, again, to elevate your whole body's energy. Your mitochondria, improve speed healing, improves sleep, improve arthritis, inflammation, all kinds of things. That's really good for. Again, well worth looking into. So I'm just listing them out one by one. For you who are interested, you can ask me any questions about any of these devices. I've tried them all. I've gone to lab after lab. I've tried them all, so I can share with you my perspective. It's just that we don't have enough time to go through every single category, but I just want to bring to your awareness so you become conscious that these things do exist to reach that superhuman performance. These are the things where you can spend all your money. PEMF devices, I've talked about the whole body. PEMF devices, again, that improves the whole body, not just sleep, not just brainwave manipulation. You can upgrade your whole body that way. Ice bath, well worth looking into. Cold therapy, I've talked about it in the earlier module. Tons of science, tons of benefit. It's worthwhile investing into. It could be as simple as a bucket that you can put some water and ice and jump into, or your bathtub. Regenerative medicine using stem cells. Again, you can hack your brain, regenerate your brain. You can it's not just joints. It's not just arthritis or people having a sports injury. You can actually enhance your sexual function, make you feel like you're 18 again. So Dave's done that. I haven't done that yet, but you can actually do injections, you know where, but also your brain, regeneration from brain injuries. If you had suffered from toxic mold, well, worth looking into. Another thing I haven't listed here, hyperbaric chambers. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy, really powerful for brain injury recovery. If you've been knocked about, you have brain injuries, you have suffered from mold, toxins, well worth investing or looking into hyperbaric oxygen chambers. Ozone therapy, another powerful hack. Molecular hydrogen, you can breathe it, you can drink it in. Molecular hydrogen is a highly targeted antioxidant that's very selective. It doesn't eliminate your body's ability to use oxidant, which is actually useful, by the way. It's not like free radical is actually useful for immune system to eliminate viruses and bacteria. So don't think free radical is all bad. there's actually some good one. And this is where antioxidant and molecular hydrogen is very different. Antioxidant eliminate all oxidation. So good or bad, it just reduces, which is not good if you're looking to build muscle, because you need some information on oxidation to actually give you the signal to create bigger muscle. So if you take vitamin C or NAC, N-acetylcysteine or glutathione immediately after workout, you just diminish majority of your gains, which is what you don't want. Whereas molecular hydrogen, it doesn't do that, which makes very, very interesting to look into. Another thing to investigate. Now, a lot of these devices could be $1,000 plus, so this is where it's more that next level stuff, but the impact could be really, really high for you. Well worth looking into. So where we should start. The way, this is my approach. Now, if you're really unwell, you're feeling really, really unwell, you might start on the left rather than on the right. Whereas if you are reasonably well, you might start in somewhere in the middle. So this is the order. If you're feeling really unwell, I'll start hacking your sleep. Fix your sleep environment. Air, very critical. That's where I'll start to fix, especially if you have chronic illness that you really need to recover from. You need to get basic right. Work on stress reduction, brain manipulation. You can choose whether you want to start. In my mind, I like the brain state manipulation devices because they're just more flexible. But in your case, you might think stress is such a big issue. You want something focused stress, specifically on stress, and therefore that's where you start. That's also okay too. I'll leave that to your decision, but this is the order for which I'll approach. Now, if you already got that sorted and you come looking to get actionable metrics to improve on, I'll start sleep monitoring. Then I work my way to enhance the sleep environment, the bed, the bedding, and eventually into total biohack. If you are completely unwell and you decide to start on total biohack, I can tell you you're going to waste a lot of money, because the hacks are great, but it's just that you've got some basic you have to deal with. Like first, before you go there, just my opinion, it's my experience. It's up to you where you want to begin. But this is where I've started, my own personal journey. I really start with the fundamental fixing sleep before I move on to the complete hacks, which really took my performance and my productivity and focus to that next level. I can work a whole day and still have all the energy to record this module for you in my side hustle, right? I can work 60-hour weeks, and I feel I can continue for the rest of my life doing that. And that is what the power of total biohack is, but only if you solve the fundamentals first. That's just a perspective. So what is some action today? I've gone through a lot of different categories of investment where you can put money in and derive better sleep and better performance. What are you looking to try? Share in the community, right? There's tons of stuff. What do you want to know more of? Let me know. I can potentially record a dedicated module for that. Let me know. Share your biohacking experience. What have you tried? What was your experience? What device did you buy? And if you notice any improvement, of course, share with the community. Let me know. I'd love to find out from you what you tried and what's benefiting you, what's your experience, and what are your questions. I look forward to seeing you and hearing from you, your experience. And until I see you next time, I wish you all the best of days. Amazing health, amazing sleep, amazing energy, amazing productivity. God bless. Take care.